The film you are about to see was made half a century ago, in 1953, just as Oshkosh was celebrating its 100th anniversary. Captured on film is life in our city during the optimistic 1950s. Originally produced to promote the businesses, organizations, and quality of life in Oshkosh, this film can now be seen as forever freezing in time what our city was like on its centennial. The film is preserved at the Oshkosh Public Museum. This film might make you think, how will life in Oshkosh in 1953 and 2003 be thought of when the city celebrates its bicentennial in 2053? We hope you enjoy this glimpse into the past.
This is our town, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, USA. We're a town known far and wide as the heart of Winnebago land, a heart that beats and throbs with the warmth and activity of more than 50,000 friendly neighbors who call it our town. We're a happy town, blessed by the efforts of those who came before us, proud of the work we do today, and constantly building to make our tomorrows and the tomorrows of our children even better. We're a people who like the great outdoors, and whenever there's time, you'll find a lot of us spending it on the rivers and lakes that are so much a part of our lives. The surrounding waters are just a few of the many scenic wonders that drew the hardy pioneers our way back in the 1830s and 1840s. The early settlers were hardy people, searching for satisfying work for their limitless energy. They quickly saw the chance to combine their forces with nature's and went into partnership with all that the power of water had to offer. They added their strength and ingenuity to the task of building a home, a business, a good way of life. Today, the citizens of our town are still looking for the same things. They're just as busy doing it and proud they can draw on all the experience that's gone on before. The natural locations for water-inspired businesses was along the banks of the Fox River and on the lake shores. The tiny lumber mills of those days grew to become industrial giants as the fame of Winnebago land as a prime source of excellent timber spread. Throughout the long winters, the sound of axe on tree echoed through the dense forests as lumberjacks from all over the continent converged on the booming area. As the spring thaw started, raft after raft of felled trees would come booming down the river and across the lake, bound first for the Oshkosh mills and then the world. As a result, Sawdust City was more than just a nickname for our town then. As the center of the mill and sashwork industry, the Oshkosh name spread far and wide, a name that came to mean quality, and it still does. As time passed, more and more of our quality products were made on work-saving devices as the flow of native lumber dwindled. New giants of industry have replaced the old ones, but just as the water power had to be harnessed by men then, so do the intricate and complex machines of today. Through it all, we've continued to grow in numbers, proving that the heart of a town is in its people, not the machines. And it's the people, our neighbors, that make Oshkosh a place we like to call home. The spirit of our steady growth and our faith in the future is reflected in the busy atmosphere of Main Street. Up-to-date, comfortable stores offer goods of every description from every part of the globe. The friendly service and fair prices of our town's shopkeepers make the downtown shopping area a scene of almost constant activity, drawing satisfied customers from the entire country. Shopping at night after a pleasant day at work has become more and more popular in the past few years. The added hours and the increasing population have helped zoom our retail trade volume above the $70 million mark. Dotting the downtown area are many of the entertainment spots where mom and dad or the whole family can find relaxed enjoyment with an excellent meal, a show, or any number of other ways. Happy, wide awake, and leading well-balanced lives, the folks in our town have their feet on the ground, their eye on tomorrow, and their thoughts on an even better tomorrow. Keeping in touch with everything that happens in the town and throughout the world is the job of the people at the Oshkosh Daily Northwestern. Capable reporters search out all the details and write the stories you read every day, stories that keep you informed of the progress of our town. All the local copy passes through the hands of the city editor, Gilbert LaBud, where the important stories are selected for the next edition. News reports from the Associated Press and United Press come in on teletypesetter tape. Roman Gronowski, the Telegraph editor, edits the tape and sends it to the composing room to be set in type. Walter Ellegard, the local advertising manager, discusses the copy and layout of an ad. In the complete photo laboratory, film is developed and prints are made of the pictures taken by the Daily Northwestern's reporter photographers. The managing editor, Aaron Mace, selects the prints to go to the Fairchild Scanograver, which makes plastic engravings that reproduce the pictures in your paper. In the composing room, Linotype, Ludlow, and Elrod composing machines set the advertising copy. Soon the advertising and news copy will meet in another part of the composing room where the complete page is made up. Stories and ads are placed in a newspaper chase or form. After inspection, the full page is locked into place. Next stop, press room, where 30,000 papers can be printed in an hour. Conveyors speed the finished papers to the dispatch room for distribution to carriers, mail trucks, and Daily Northwestern cars. Literally news hot off the presses. The business office maintains the records of more than 20,000 subscribers. Under the forward-looking guidance of A. Thomas Schwamm and co-publisher Samuel W. Heaney, the Daily Northwestern takes pride in helping to keep the citizens of our town up to date on events in Oshkosh and around the world. The exciting story of the growth of Oshkosh to its present place of importance is reflected in the solid growth of the First National Bank, founded a year before our town was chartered. Friendly, efficient interest in your banking problems is the keynote. Deposits are handled quickly by a machine which records the amount and prints the receipt simultaneously. Checks are recorded and verified on the proofing machine. The bookkeeping department uses modern, efficient methods in handling the accounts of the bank's 30,000 customers. All deposits and checks posted on checking accounts are recorded quickly and accurately. The Safe Deposit Department offers complete protection for your valuables against fire, theft, or loss. You can rest assured when your important papers and possessions are kept in this underground vault. In 1944, Mr. Huff supervised the organization of the Time Credit Department. Here, Oshkosh citizens are helped to buy appliances, automobiles, and other necessities, and have the use of these things while paying for them in convenient monthly installments. Through the help of this office, many folks in our town enjoy a higher standard of living than ever before. A welcome feature of the Southside branch of the First National Bank is the walk-up banking service, which saves time and steps. Customers can cash checks, make deposits, or buy personal money orders without taking time to go inside the bank. It's all done with two-way communication and sliding drawers. Another example of the way the First National makes banking easier. Banking needs for the south side of our town are handled in the easy-to-reach South Side office. Oshkosh and the First National Bank have truly grown together. The history of one is the history of the other. The bank's officers and personnel take an active part in the civic, cultural, and industrial progress of Oshkosh, making our town a better place to live. An annual highlight in the calendar of Oshkosh events is BIE Day, sponsored by the Associated Industries of Oshkosh. This group carries on a whole host of activities designed to promote and advance the interests, welfare, and development of industrial life in our town. One of the ways this is done is through the round of events planned for BIE Day. Teachers throughout the entire area pour into Oshkosh for a round of lectures, luncheons, tours, and a banquet. Every meeting, every word has been carefully planned to help tell the story of our town's industries to the schools and to our whole population. The participating members of the Associated Industries really put their best foot forward during the interesting tours that are such a popular feature of BIE Day. There are many kinds of manufacturing plants right in our town that offer guided tours of their operations on a regular basis. From rug making to bottling, from newspapers to heavy foundries, from boat making to banking, the variety is almost endless. Every year on BIE Day, plants open their doors wide to the teachers looking for answers that are always cheerfully given. For in order to pass on this information, the teachers must be taught first. And from their questions, it's easy to see they're anxious to learn all they can. The Deltox Rug Company is one of Oshkosh's leading industries, backing BIE Day and all it stands for. For more than 50 years ago, a man with an idea he believed in applied his knowledge and inspiration toward the creation of a new industry, now represented by the worldwide business carried on by Deltox, an affiliate of the Armstrong Court Company. That man was Emil Steiger, founder of the Oshkosh Grass Matting Company in 1902. His son Carl Steiger has continued his father's tradition since 1929. A tradition of a company that is not only successful, but just as important, a company where people like to work, a company interested in the community and glad that the town is interested in it. It's a tradition carried on by the Armstrong people. Guided tours showing the modern, efficient operations of the Deltox Company are a regular feature with the firm. One of the tours is getting ready to leave, so let's join it. Special roll grab lift trucks make easy work of moving the large rolls of special sheet fiber from the railroad siding into the raw material warehouse. This sheet fiber, the primary raw material from which Deltox fiber rugs are made, comes to the warehouse in a rainbow of colors to be processed into quality, low-priced, year-round floor coverings. The warehouse is usually a beehive of activity, for the company always keeps enough fiber on hand to provide year-round employment for more than 400 Oshkosh folks. One of the founder's basic traditions was that of high quality, another tradition which is being continued and expanded at Deltox under Armstrong Cork ownership. Every batch of raw materials goes through the quality control section to assure a finished product that is uniform in strength and beauty. An important step in quality control is the light fastness of all raw materials. The fadeometer ensures uniform, lasting color. Once the quality has been approved, the wound ribbons are soaked to condition them for the twisting operation, the heart of the Deltox process. Specially designed dies form a flat ribbon into tough fiber cords by twisting. These cords will be used for the filler or woof of the finished rug. The filler yarn, multiplied in strength by twisting, is then wound so as to fit into the shuttle, which travels back and forth on the loom when the rug is woven. The warp or lengthwise cord goes through a similar twisting operation. Colorful combinations can be formed by twisting two contrasting shades of fiber together to make a duplex strand. This variety of colors lets the Deltox customer choose a rug that can match the smartest decorating scheme. The bulging spools of colorful cord move smoothly between operations on this modern conveyor. After the spools of twisted fiber cord are removed, the material is rewound into a larger and more uniform package to be placed on the creels behind the loom for weaving. The many hungry looms work 16 hours a day, and the twisting and rewinding operations have to work just as long to keep up with the worldwide demand for Deltox rugs. One of the patented features offered exclusively by Deltox is a fiber rug made of endless yarn without knots. To accomplish this, the creels feeding the yarn to the looms are constantly checked, and when a spool is empty, the loom is stopped and an invisible splice is made. Here's where quality control counts. The new spool is exactly the same color and has the same strength as the one just before it. Also, the rug will be woven fully reversible, giving double the wear. The splice made, the weaving operation continues under a watchful eye. The warp strings are fed into the header board of the giant looms. The number of these warp strings will determine the width of the finished rug. Down from the header board to the heddle they come, dancing up and down as every other string is pushed up, the ones in between down. At the precise moment, the filler shuttle shoots through the arranged warp strings, carrying the twisted woof. The filler or woof is then pressed forward to become part of the woven material. A dyed yarn matching the body of the rug is overlocked along the woven edge or selve edge. This serging operation adds beauty and long life to the rug. The long lengths of woven rugs, both fiber and the combination rugs, meet in the finishing department. They are drawn onto a flat table, carefully squared at both ends and cut into standard sizes. Still another inspection before the ends are bound. A uniform pattern, a firm, tight weave, quality in every step of rug manufacture. These have built the reputation of the company. Wide conveyors carry the rugs to the end binders with a minimum of wrinkling. Binding is first attached to one end with a 2-needle stitch and then to the other. The final step is to sew down the binding at the 4 corners. The finished rug is then given a final examination by highly trained inspectors. They make sure the high standards of Armstrong and Deltox have been built into every rug. The label goes on only after every detail has passed the rigid inspection. The roll and wrap machine combines these 2 important jobs. The rolls must be rolled tight but not stretched. Applying just the right amount of pull, the machine quickly rolls the bound and labeled rug. Just as quickly, the rug is wrapped and ready for storage or shipment. Pioneering in the belief that management has a responsibility to its workers, Deltox and Armstrong continue the fair management principles practiced by its founder. Participating in all civic affairs, leading in many, Deltox and Armstrong continue to grow with our town. Everyone loves a parade, and the neighbors in our town are no exception. Lining the streets for blocks and blocks, they watch and applaud eagerly as the homecoming parade of the Oshkosh State College marches by. A highlight of many Oshkosh parades is the Oshkosh Brewing Company's beer roll, a large wagon and team used in the old days to deliver Chief Oshkosh beer. Now the most modern methods are used in the brewing and delivery of this delicious beverage of moderation, and the taste is just as pleasing as when those first kegs were produced over 90 years ago. Spotless brew kettles boil the hops with the cooked and filtered malt and grain mash. After the beer has been fermented, it goes to large storage tanks where it's aged for many weeks to bring out the full flavor. Large steam engines provide the power for the refrigeration compressors. As the demand for Chief Oshkosh beer grew over the years, newer and better breweries were built, this being the third. About 30% of the Oshkosh Brewing Company's output is sold in barrels, which are thoroughly washed, sterilized, and inspected before being filled with beer for draft. The other 70% is sold in cans and bottles, such as these coming out of the sterilizer. Before being filled, each bottle must pass inspection. Cleanliness is the keynote in every step in brewing Chief Oshkosh beer. Watching the bottling and capping operation is fascinating. With split-second precision, the inspected bottles move into the filling machine, where just the right amount of beer is measured and put in. The cap is put on immediately, sealing in all the flavor and tang. You and your neighbors buy over 13 million cans and bottles of Chief Oshkosh beer every year. In a continuous line, the bottles go into the pasteurizer. As with so many liquids, pasteurization assures the customer a clean, wholesome beverage, guaranteed pure. Well-trained eyes make sure the bottles are full and remove any defective bottles. The distinctive Chief Oshkosh label, with the chief wearing the well-known beaver hat, is securely attached to the bottles with another marvel of scientific ingenuity. At the end of the production line, the labeled bottles go into protective cartons ready for delivery. More and more beer customers these days like the convenience and easy handling of canned beer. And to satisfy the demand, the Oshkosh Brewing Company has installed the latest equipment. The long lines of sterilized cans are fed into the filling machine, filled, and then move on to the capping machine where they are sealed. Members of one of the oldest brewery workers' unions in the country supervise every step. In and out of the pasteurizer. The cans are carefully weighed to assure full value. The six-pack operation is the latest in modern equipment used at the brewery to make carrying and chilling of the brimming cans of beer even more convenient. The filled cans of beer enter one side of the machine. The printed cutouts enter another part of the six-packer, which groups the cans into units of 6 and wraps them tightly to form a handy carton. As they come off the line, cases are made up of 6-packs, 24 cans of golden brew in each. The growing acceptance of Chief Oshkosh beer throughout the state is appreciated by its brewers, the third generation of the families that founded the company, glad they can add so much to the pleasant, relaxed moments of the citizens of our town. Helping to keep Oshkosh and the world clean are the products of the Leach Company, founded 70 years ago. Perhaps the best-known product today is the Packmaster. The latest refuse collection body was developed less than 10 years ago and has won worldwide acceptance. Giant shears in the sheet metal department begin the work of fabricating the more than 1,500 parts into a work-saving, health-helping unit. The shear has a capacity for cutting steel plates up to a half-inch thick and 12 feet long. Little wonder that the completed body weighs almost 9,000 pounds. The side sheet is welded to the floor of the body, which will be bound for the West Coast when finished. The apron is then welded to the rear of the body floor. After shot blasting to remove the mill scale and weld spatter, the bodies are metallized with zinc, then ground and polished. The body is chemically washed and 2 primer coats of paint are applied. After baking to harden the primer surface, come the sanding and finish coat operations. The finished body, wired for lights and controls, meets the truck frame specified by the purchaser. Both body and truck must pass a rigid inspection. To make even quicker work of refuse collection, the Leach Company manufactures an attachable container which matches the completed trucks. The same care goes into their making as the hydraulically operated truck. The polished and sanded container is degreased, primed, and then the finished coat is sprayed on. The freshly painted containers spend 27 minutes on this conveyor on their trip through the 50-foot bake oven. 300-degree heat bakes on a tough, scuff-resistant film. The 2 products, the truck and the container, work as a team. Typical illustrations show how. All the men have to do in an industrial application is wheel the loaded container to the truck, hook it to the rear of the garbage body, and hydraulic power from the truck's engine automatically lifts the container up, dumps the refuse into the hopper, and returns the empty container to the ground. In residential applications, the Packmaster hopper is open to receive refuse from small cans. A flick of the button brings the packing plate down, pushing a hopper full of refuse into the large capacity body. As more and more pickups are made, the refuse is actually compressed into the body until the truck body can hold no more. Because the refuse is packed in, squeezed into a small fraction of its original volume, the truck has to make fewer runs to the incinerator, making refuse collection more efficient and less costly. Besides being known as a clean town, we're also known as a safe town to live in. For this, we can thank our alert, efficient police department. Elaborate radio equipment keeps the far-flung police cars in touch with each other, ready to move at a moment's notice. An incoming call is recorded by the dispatcher, who relays the information immediately to the car or cars nearest the scene where help is needed. Whenever we might get a summons for a parking or other violation, we're able to dispose of our ticket at the police department's summons bureau. Reasonable fines can be quickly paid, while the signs all around gently remind us to try to avoid the next ticket. In the record department, complete files are kept on the crimes and accidents that do occur. But fortunately, there are few major crimes in our town. Other files contain complete information and background on offenders, available in a moment when needed. One of our town's policemen demonstrates how suspects are recorded on film in the photo department. To help keep us safe, our patrolmen in cars and on foot undergo extensive training in the use of the finest weapons known today. On the firing range, they learn the fine points of all weapons. They're taught how to get pinpoint accuracy with each weapon to protect themselves and bystanders and still get their man. Our police force certainly is always prepared, but ours is a law-abiding town where violent crime is a rarity. The range is used frequently so that all of our town's policemen can keep in shape. The direct result of all this training is that the folks in our town live better and sleep better, knowing that they're being protected by the fine men and equipment of our police department. The Dunphy Boat Company's 100-year tradition of fine boat making is recalled by this painting of the bargeman. In the beginning, John Dunphy made scows and barges. Today, the company is the world's largest builder of molded plywood boats. Mahogany veneers are cut to size to begin construction. A solid wood mandrel or form is built up of 2-inch planks. This mandrel must be precision formed, for the shape of the inside of the finished hull will follow its every contour. The trim hulls are molded of 7 plies of mahogany veneers, which are first coated with special melamine resins. The resins are mixed and transferred to automatic glue spreaders. The strips get a thorough coating and are put on racks. The company was instrumental in developing the popular molded plywood boat, drawing on its extensive wartime experience. The plasticized veneers go to the curing room where the solvents are dried off. Temperature and humidity are carefully controlled in the curing room to assure uniform bonding of the finished product. The first ply of the 7-ply hull is laid straight across the mandrel from gunwale to gunwale. The strips are securely stapled to the form. This first ply is specially handled so that only one side is treated, the side away from the mandrel. In this way, the untreated side, next to the form, which will be the inside of the hull, is kept free of resins. Quality construction of the Dunphy boat has made it a favorite with outboard fans everywhere. To give the finished boat maximum strength, the inner plies from 2 through 6 are crisscrossed. That is, the second ply is put on at 45 degrees to the first, the third is put on at right angles to the second, the fourth will be at right angles to the third, and so on. The last ply will be put on the same way as the first. These filler plies also run from gunwale to gunwale. The result will be strong, one-piece outboard boats without any butt joints, giving years of carefree service to the proud owner. The fourth ply, treated with resins and cured, is stapled on. The last or 7th ply, treated only on the inside, goes straight across the form. The seamless hull will thus have natural mahogany both inside and out for greater beauty. The hull is put into giant fairprene rubber bags. The air is drawn out, creating a 26-inch vacuum, which holds all the plies tight to one another. The hull-filled bag stays in the autoclave for a full hour at a temperature of 300 degrees and 60 pounds of steam pressure. The combination of heat and vacuum, plus the steam pressure, first causes the melamine resins to turn to liquid, impregnating them into the veneer. Then another chemical reaction occurs, and all the plies are completely bonded together. The assembly is then removed from the autoclave, and the envelope bag and protective canvas cover are taken off the bonded hull. The special wooden edges and rubber mallets are skillfully used to separate the bonded hull from the form. This leaves the form free to be used to make other Dunphy hulls. The plant is right on Lake Winnebago, which serves as an ideal testing ground for all new models. The staples are easily removed from the outer ply. The pre-cut keel and keelson are fitted and fastened with bolts. A permanent jig holds the hull while a specially constructed saw trims the factory edge, giving the hull an accurate and finished shear line. The gunwale is cemented to the hull and held in place by large C-clamps. In the finish department, skilled craftsmen fit the completed hull with decks, seats, spray rails, and many more fine quality touches that distinguish a Dunphy boat. The decked hull goes to the paint department, where the first step is final sanding. Careful inspection and extra care in this important step assures the owner minimum upkeep. Color-wise, Dunphy customers appreciate the bright standout colors offered on the many models. More and more, they ask for sparkling color combinations. To achieve this two-tone brilliance, the hull is masked before one of the colors is applied. In a spray booth, the light portion of the two-tone deck is put on. After controlled drying, the smart-looking boat goes to the finish paint department, where hot varnish is expertly sprayed on. The tough, smooth skin highlights the natural mahogany wood grain. The boat is then ready for the final trim, where first a shock-absorbing rubber molding is applied by cementing and stapling to the outside of the gunwale. The quality fabrics used in all Dunphy boats are cut and sewn in the trim department. The upholstery is stapled securely to the seat backs. The final hardware and accessories such as bow handles, windshield, and lights are installed. After a busy, productive day in clean and happy surroundings, the Dunphy employees head home. These men and women take pride in the quality of their work, quality that has become the trademark of the company. As citizens of our town who know the pleasures of boating, they do their best to make boating a pleasure for all. Contributing much to the building of strong, healthy bodies of the folks in our town is the Farnwald Farms Dairy. An outstanding feature of the dairy is that its milk is controlled every step of the way, from the cow right up to your doorstep. Proper feeding of the herd is just part of the scientific care that the herd of 150 Guernseys get. Throughout the farm, cleanliness is the watchword. Before the cows are milked, they are carefully brushed. Customers appreciate this attention to cleanliness, which assures them a wholesome, pure product. These cows may not know it, but the dairy keeps accurate records of each one's output by weight and butterfat content. The staff is devoted to maintaining the highest standards, knowing that purity of product is all important when it comes to milk and milk products. This devotion is reflected in the clean milking barns, kept that way before, during, and after each milking session. When it's milking time, each cow finds a comfortable berth, often picking the same one time after time. The herd is now 10 times as large as when the dairy began 25 years ago, a sure sign that the people in our town appreciate the quality of Farnwald products. Just before milking, the udders are washed and a strip test is made. The milking machine is removed from the cow and the rich milk is immediately poured into an airtight can. The Farnwald Dairy has kept up to date with the latest in modern milking procedures. Efficient machines make milking easier all around and yield more milk per cow. Even so, the dairy provides employment for nearly 30 families who supervise every step from pasture to home. To preserve all its health-giving properties, the milk is quickly poured into the cooler. Oshkosh citizens can buy Farnwald milk in either cartons or bottles. Each has advantages, so the dairy gives you the choice. And the machines that are used in each process are intricate and interesting to watch. The bottle washing machine handles the long rows of bottles with such ease and care and washes and sterilizes them thoroughly. And before the sparkling bottles are sent on to the filler, they are inspected closely. Like an army at double time, the spick and span bottles push single file along the conveyors to the filling machine. Scientific control and mechanical wonders have meant much to the dairy industry, and the best features have been adopted by the Farnwald Dairy. They have resulted in the most efficient handling of milk and a guarantee of uniform quality and purity never known not too many years ago. All this and reasonable prices, too. Yet these machines haven't and they never will replace men, although they do help make his work lighter. Men are needed to run the machines, and they always will be. With precision timing, the bottles are filled and capped immediately to lock in all the flavor and richness of the milk and keep bacteria out. The carton filling operation is just as quick and just as interesting. The carton machine picks up the flattened carton, seals the bottom, and coats it with wax to prevent any leakage. The cartons are then filled, the lid is automatically closed and fastened, all in what looks like one operation. At the lab, samples from every milking are carefully checked for quality, purity, and butterfat content. Mr. George Ferber, a University of Wisconsin Dairy School graduate, supervises the lab. The theme of cleanliness is carried through to the trucks that deliver the milk to the stores, restaurants, and hotels in our town, and those that bring it to your door in the morning. Prompt delivery of milk that's just been processed, milk that's really fresh, is just another example of the efficiency that's made the farm so popular. You just know it's the freshest milk you can buy. While a lot of our town is still asleep, busy men all over Oshkosh bring the wide variety of products right to your doorstep. That farm-walled milk box at your home shows you demand the finest. And the men who deliver these products are known for their friendly service. To make your breakfast or any meal a more welcome treat, all you have to do is take just a few steps, and there it is. Milk, butter, all the fixings that make eating a pleasure. We're a town that likes to keep in touch with our neighbors in our state and throughout the nation. And we're a town whose folks like to travel upstate, downstate, and all around. In Oshkosh, we're fortunate to have all of the fast, economical means of transportation at our disposal. Oshkosh has always been an up-to-date town when it comes to travel. In fact, it's reported that a flying machine was built here way back in 1900. We've come a long way from then, from what was probably a gas-filled balloon to this modern day of jets and rockets. But a real plane with pontoons as landing gear was built in our town more than 45 years ago, back in 1912. And we had airmail service almost 30 years ago, in 1928. Barely 50 cities in the whole country had it then, and we were one. Now 300 acres make up our airport, with 4 concrete runways laid out for takeoffs and landings with any wind direction. We're classified as a Class 4 airport with 14 daily north and southbound flights scheduled by North Central Airlines, the largest feeder airline in the country. The county owns the airport, but it is managed by S.J. Steve Whitman, who also operates a flying school, a maintenance and repair service, an aircraft sales service, and gives chartered flights. Steve found his way to Oshkosh in 1931 and has been one of the pioneer promoters of aviation in our time, building planes, lending a hand in the operation of the airport, and stimulating interest in the fastest of all travel. The first ship he built was the Chief Oshkosh, and he piloted it to a world record for its class at Detroit just 20 years ago, a record which still stands, by the way. In 1935, he built another racer, Bonzo, which, after sweeping all competition, is now displayed in the Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. His skill as a flying instructor, designer, and builder of planes, and especially as a racing pilot, served to put Oshkosh on the map in the aviation world. And as the people in our town became more and more air-minded, Steve found a lot of that interest directed toward the building of small planes, planes the builders could use for pleasure and business. The complete shop at the county airport is equipped to help a man start from scratch and come up with a well-designed, smooth-operating plane. Aviation fans throughout the area know that they have a reliable friend in Steve Whitman, a friend who is always ready to help with good advice for their own good and for the good of all aviation. Our town has had railroad service for almost 100 years now. The first line to the city was completed in 1859 by what is now the Chicago and Northwestern Railroad, which continues to supply fast, dependable service. We're now an important stop on 3 major lines, the Chicago and Northwestern, the Sioux Line, and the Milwaukee Road, which carries freight only. We've grown with the railroads, and they've grown with us, a mutual growth that is a symbol of our steady progress, progress that we are proud to have made, but progress that is only a hint of things to come. The schools in our town are truly the training ground for tomorrow, where the men and women of tomorrow are taught the patterns of good citizenship and the value of knowledge. They are our stake in the future, deserving our finest support. For the schools are only as good as we ourselves make them, and we are constantly working to make them better. All is not book learning, however, as shown by these third-grade youngsters busily playing dodgeball in the gym. The modern schools of today are planned and built with all the facilities needed to develop both the mind and the body. In the kindergarten, free play periods are always welcome. The wide assortment of crayons, paper, games, and toys are designed and used wisely, contributing much to the learning process. Good citizenship and character are instilled in the children by the constant reminder of and devotion to what our country stands for, principles that will keep our country strong. Some of the mysteries of nature are explored and explained in the general science classes, such as this one learning about nests. The inquisitive minds of the pupils are eager for knowledge of the world about them, and the school's job is to satisfy that curiosity. Regardless of what their future occupation may be, the students of today are exposed to areas and fields that will help them decide on their future. Day by day, their interests are aroused as the knowledge of centuries is made available to them. Oshkosh has provided special facilities for those who are deaf or hard of hearing. At the School for the Deaf, the latest equipment is used to fullest advantage. Microphones, amplifiers, and individually controlled earphones allow the specially trained instructors to carry on the lessons at an efficient rate, knowing each student can adjust the listening volume until he can hear fully. Up to and through high school, the importance of sound bodies is never overlooked. When the South Park High School was built in 1940, this inviting pool was made an integral part of the athletic facilities. One of the pioneer firms of Oshkosh, a firm that has truly grown with our town, is the Morgan Company, founded in 1855. Producing a diversified list of wood products, the company's reputation is worldwide. Keeping pace with the latest trends and creating many themselves, the company produces a modern awning window unit that is a complement to any home. Always a leader in the sash and door industry, the Morgan Company offers a wide variety of door styles to match the tastes of customers everywhere. The T-Core door is another of the Morgan Company's popular products. It combines lightweight with maximum rigidity and strength. It is a high-quality door, yet low in cost, and is available in a variety of natural wood veneers, gleaming surfaces that can be retained in their natural state, or can be stained or painted to blend in with the decor of any room. Such a door must be and is scientifically planned to give long years of satisfied service. The interior of the door is filled with diagonally spaced cores made of impregnated wood fiber. Their position inside the door has been carefully engineered to equalize the vertical, horizontal, and cross stresses that a door is subjected to. These have been overcome by the unusual spacing and diagonal placement of the T-shaped cores. The Plant 600 employees make many things beside doors, as shown by the display of fine sectional kitchen cabinets. They are made of the same fine woods and by equally skilled woodworkers as the doors we've seen. Precision crafting makes them easy to operate. Gleaming finishes make them easy to keep clean, and the variety of grains and colors make them a complement to any kitchen. This applies also to the drawers and below the work level cabinets that are found in more and more homes being built today. The century-old tradition of quality is the keynote of the company's operations today, providing quality wood products of lasting beauty at economical prices. Satisfied customers are living proof of the quality of the merchandise made by the Morgan Lumber Company. The words breaking ground mean the start of work on a construction project. The C.R. Meyer & Sons Company first broke ground almost 70 years ago, and since then has literally built much of our town. Schools, churches, banks, hotels, industrial plants, and beautiful homes. Look where you will in our town, and you'll see these lasting memorials to the skill and integrity of the C.R. Meyer organization. In the general offices on State Street, sound planning and engineering are formulated into bold plans for a variety of projects, large or small. Construction equipment and supplies are stored and assembled at what is known as the North Yard. A mobile crane leaves the yard for the new Oregon Street Bridge when it was in its final stages of completion. At the Oregon Street Bridge, the crane is ready to take on its specialized chores. Besides removing the old bridge, the company sank new piers in 30 feet of water. The work on the steel framework is just a sample of the teamwork between the forgeman who heats the rivets and then tosses them accurately to the steel workers, who join the girders to each other. Familiar landmarks built by the Meyer Company include the Athearn Hotel. Another is the new First National Bank, the tallest building in our town, which was built on the same site occupied by the former bank building. The Meyer Company had built that earlier one back in 1911. The Merrill Junior High School, one of Oshkosh's newer schools, as well as the City High School, are other Meyer products. The Algoma Methodist Church. The Brickham Stamping Company plant is one of Oshkosh's newest, both designed and built by the company. These are just some of the varied jobs they have been called upon to do all over the state and in Michigan. Crossing rivers, building plants, homes, all are in the day's work for the C.R. Meyer & Sons Company, rapidly building its splendid record, and in doing so, building our town. Strong, sound bodies need a regular supply of good food, including the basic benefits of bread products made by the Heiss Bakery. The name Heiss has stood for quality baking for over 80 years. Time-tested recipes are followed, beginning with the careful weighing of ingredients. In the early days, dough was mixed by hand. Now, modern sanitary machines thoroughly blend the fine flour, shortening, and other ingredients. The dough goes into the divider where just the right amount for one loaf is cut off. Although modern methods are used, the flavor takes you back to the old days. The next stop is the rounder, which forms the chunk into the proper shape for proofing. Weight is checked frequently to assure a perfect loaf every time. After the first proofing process, the loaf-sized dough goes to the bread molding machine, where it is kneaded and formed to fit perfectly into the spotless bread pans. A second proofing, or rest period, allows the dough to rise again, after which it goes into the gleaming ovens. Individual loaves of health-giving Heiss bread, done to perfection, come out at just the right time. The freshly baked bread gives off a delightful, mouth-watering aroma as it moves from the ovens to the high-speed slicing machines. After a time, the loaves march to and through the sharp blades, each golden slice an exact duplicate of its neighbor. Just as fast as they leave the slicer, the wrapping machine takes over, applying waxed wrappers to ensure lasting freshness. The ends are sealed tight, locking all the flavor in, all the air out. The combination of men and machines is an efficient one at the Heiss Bakery, working together to supply our needs. The loaves are stacked in protective cartons where they'll retain their perfect shape. From the biscuit baking ovens come the golden brown biscuits and buns that the whole family enjoys. They're so fresh, tasty, wholesome, and pure. The buns follow much the same procedure as bread, as they are fed into their own slicing and wrapping machine. Mother appreciates the convenience of already sliced buns, kept fresh by the high-quality plasticized wax paper wrapper. Much of the baking is done while our town sleeps, and the delicious loaves and boxes are stacked ready for the fleet of trucks. Tomorrow and every day at stores all over town, Heiss Bakery products help us lead healthy, active lives. The Athearn Hotel, built more than 65 years ago, has played a prominent role in the growth of our town. The solid structure has undergone extensive remodeling and renovating so that it continues to be a modern, comfortable stopping-off place for visitors and guests. The dining room maintains its old-world charm, offering delicious food in an atmosphere that makes dining a pleasure for out-of-town guests or townspeople. The rooms and meeting halls in the hotel have been host to many distinguished guests throughout the years. Famous entertainers, notable political figures, and friends and relatives of the folks in our town. The list of outstanding guests sparkles with names that recall memories of brilliant voices, soul-stirring dramatic talent, political battles, heartwarming music, and military victories. To mention a few, Otis Skinner, Harry Lauder, Billy Burke, Henry Ward Beecher, Clarence Darrow, and President William Howard Taft. Many of the citizens of our town now probably recall the occasions these names bring to mind. Some of the more recent notables include the present Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Earl Warren, the late Senator Taft, and others too numerous to mention. Accommodating all with equal ease, the Athearn Hotel lives up to its reputation as a landmark with a history of comfort and service, fine meals, and gracious living for all. The Hofmaster Company is an excellent example of the progressive spirit that will always keep our town humming with activity. Founded just 10 years ago, the company created a new type of cellulose napkin with the softness, weight, and strength of cloth napkins, but with added whiteness and perfect folding. Skilled artists create the striking designs that are printed on the napkins and matching placemats used in restaurants, hotels, clubs, and hospitals. Specially designed precision machinery turns out napkins of outstanding quality, napkins with a soft, luxurious feel. Cellutex dinner napkins are fine enough for any table setting, yet cost so little you throw them away after one use. The placemat machine does 3 jobs at once. It embosses the prints and cuts the placemats in one operation. Automatic machines make quick work of wrapping Cellutex 400 napkins, which are available in retail stores everywhere. Machines turn out the napkins, but men run the machines. Almost 100 people are employed in the company's Oshkosh plant, plus another staff on the West Coast. Shipping is handled quickly and efficiently. The company's products will be bound for all parts of this country, as well as Hawaii, Canada, Cuba, the Bahamas Islands, and South America. Proof of the growing acceptance of Cellutex napkins. The combination of handsome, luxurious napkins and tastefully designed placemats makes the truly modern sanitary table service of today. The fabricized napkins of 3 thicknesses of cellulose are soft yet firm, fortified with unusual wet strength that makes them strong when wet, prevents soil through and disintegration. There's no linting or sticking to the fingers, and they stay put on the lap. The individual placemats and matching napkins impress patrons with the restaurant's desire to please by attention to details. More and more wise shoppers everywhere are finding the wide variety of Hofmaster quality products ideal for home use. Yes, our town can truly be proud to call the Hofmaster Company its neighbors. It's a two-way interest, too, as shown by the impressive record of civic service it gives to such organizations as Kiwanis, YMCA, and Associated Industries, working to make our town even better. After a good day's work, the folks in our town like to get together and participate in friendly sports such as bowling. Whether they're on a league team or bowling with a friend just for the fun of it, they take a wholesome approach to the way they spend their leisure time. Companies encourage such outside competition, knowing that the cares of the day are quickly forgotten in the exciting matches, knowing that outside activities go a long way toward making our lives fuller, richer, more relaxed and pleasant. And these are the characteristics of the folks in our town. Active, alive, full of the fun of life. And we do things together with family or friends, always eager to share the experiences that interest us. Because we work together and play together, our town is rightly known as a friendly town. Humming with activity around the clock, Oshkosh is a thriving city where busy people live exciting lives. While we are in touch and in step with the world, of course we always work to preserve the unique way of life that marks Oshkosh as a friendly, interesting place. Oshkosh, Wisconsin, USA. We're a town filled with people who are alive, aware, and alert. Folks who know and appreciate the goodness of what life has to offer, and who are willing to work for that way of life. And the way that we live can be fun, too, filled with relaxed, healthful moments in our glorious outdoors. Our park system is one of the nation's finest. We have nearly 300 acres under the supervision of the Park Board. More than 1/3 of this amount, nearly 110 acres, is found in enchanting Menominee Park. The whole family, the youngsters especially, find the graceful charm of the park and the inhabitants of its zoo an inspiration that draws them back time and again to feed and to watch the gentle animals. There are exciting rides on hand, too, to thrill the youngsters, who throw themselves into the fun of the outdoors with everything they have. Happy, smiling faces, gay, carefree laughter filling the air. These are some of the rewards the parents get when they come and watch their children participate in the clean, wholesome fun. However, few of us realize the struggles our town went through to have this famous park in our midst. Barely 65 years ago, the site was wooded, swampy land. Pretty? True, but only because of its natural, untouched, and unusable state. Over determined opposition, Mayor E.E. Stevens brought about the purchase of the lakeside swamp in 1890, and later administrations saw to the planning and construction of the park as we know it today. And whether you bring your food or have a steaming dish of fresh fish, the park has fine picnic facilities. While out on the dock, Mr. Fisherman continues his patient search for a fish that's that long, or even longer. The friendly services of the Oshkosh National Bank add much to our financial peace of mind. It is truly a home-owned, home-operated bank, with more than 99% of its nearly 800 stockholders living right in this area. The sparkling lobby helps to make banking a pleasure, where courteous, efficient neighbors handle our transactions accurately in a minimum of time, helped by modern machines. The 26 members of the staff take an active interest in the well-being of our town, too, participating extensively in community activities, churches, school groups, and other civic affairs. Another of the proud exclusives operated by the Oshkosh National Bank is the handy curb teller. Somewhat resembling a mailbox, the curb teller lets us transact any banking business which we could at the regular bank window, all without having to leave our cars. It operates on somewhat the same principle as a periscope, letting us see and hear the teller, who quickly handles the transaction. The Oshkosh National Bank is an outstanding financial neighbor in our town, devoting its best to the friendly, efficient solution of our banking problems. When we spot a fire, we call a team of experts to help to put it out. They're the men of our Oshkosh Fire Department. The ticker alarm notifies all areas of the fire's location. The alarm bell is a signal for quick action, and our firemen deliver it, dropping whatever they're doing for a quick slide down the pole to the floor below. The chief is on his way, too. All of the equipment at the disposal of our excellent fire department works smoothly and efficiently to get the firefighters to the scene of the fire in a minimum of time. Since our town has had a long history in dealing with lumber and wood products, we've learned the lessons of adequate fire protection the hard way. And our present department is another in a long line of courageous, thoroughly trained men who know their business. There it is, billowing away, a potential menace to life and property. But the speed of communications and engines, plus the efficiency of the men of the department, will spell a quick death for one of man's most feared enemies. The men move surely but cautiously, attacking the fire from every possible direction. Uppermost in the minds of the captains is concern for the safety of the men who are called upon to face this and more threatening dangers every time there's a fire in our town. With the fire almost out, adjustments are made on the engine's controls. Mopping up operations are in order when the fire has no chance of continuing. Another job well done. Final adjustments are made at the engine before the men return to await another call. At the same time that our town has expanded on the ground, we have also expanded skyward, and the fire department is equipped with the latest methods for combating fires above street level. How would you like to climb up there? Stringing the hose and then using it at the very top are just two of the many tricky jobs these men are trained for, all for our benefit. Yes, our town has come a mighty long way in fire department improvements, and we can be justly proud of its leadership, manpower, and equipment. Ready to answer our call in times of need, they have dedicated their lives and abilities to keep us safe. As our town's wealth and size increases, a better and more reliable protection from fire is demanded. With our help and their devotion, we can have it. And our fire department is one of our most valuable assets, second to none in service and character. The story of engineered castings. That's the proud story of the Universal Foundry Company, a good neighbor in our town. 41 years of solid progress has seen the company grow to a position of leadership in the metalworking field, with 3 divisions employing nearly 500 people. This is a basic industry upon which much of our modern civilization is built, for the mechanical marvels and everyday conveniences we enjoy would be impossible without the foundry industry. The words engineered castings are more than a slogan. They mean practical development in which the company's engineers help customers in design and metallurgical problems, always aiming to produce a better casting at less cost. To produce a casting, a form or pattern is required. The patterns are generally made of wood, metal, or plastic. For a few castings, loose wood patterns are used. Mounted metal patterns are made for high production. In the wood pattern department, the patterns are fitted and checked to close tolerances to assure uniform castings. These are just some of the many patterns that the company has been called upon to make, including mounted metal patterns capable of reproducing several hundred thousands of castings. Some castings require internal openings. These are made by using a special hard sand form named a core. The cores are placed in the mold, while core setting gauges are used to control the position of the core in the mold, assuring proper metal sections in the finished castings. The density of the mold is checked with a mold hardness tester. One of the several core building processes at the Universal Foundry uses compressed air to blow the sand into the core boxes. Cores made by this particular process are built up of clay-free sand, oil binders, and special additives, and at this stage are in a fragile state, requiring careful handling before they are baked. The core is drawn from the core box carefully. In this and every step of the story of engineered castings, wise planning, high standards, and quality control result in superior final castings, a tradition with the company. The cores, baked for a time depending on size and shape, are taken from the large vertical oven. Complicated parts, such as air-cooled cylinders, are made in baked sand molds. In this, as in all of the precision work, process experience counts, for the assembly of these molds must be done accurately. The assembled molds are readied for pouring in a special mechanical rack and are then conveyed to the pouring stations. Our neighbors who work at Universal Foundry are known for their skilled craftsmanship and ability, and are proud to do their part in the building of quality products for which Oshkosh is justly famed. Molten metal is mechanically conveyed to pouring stations in insulated ladles. Up to 150 tons of metal are poured every day at Universal. After the castings have been removed from the sand, they are taken to the finishing department, where excess sand and metal are removed. One of the several types of cleaning systems used at Universal is the rotoblast table. In the finishing process, metal abrasives are used. A vital part of the quality control program is carried out in the gauging of castings. Depending on their size and other facts, some are gauged with hand tools, others with fixture gauges. Another step in continuing quality control is the hardness test, or Brinell test. A precision instrument exerts a fixed amount of pressure and the impression is checked. When specified, castings are checked before they are shipped. In Universal's scientifically designed spray booths, the castings get priming and sealing coats of paint, another service offered to those customers who desire it. Many iron castings today are heat-treated for better machining and uniform structure, which increases the tool life and reduces machining costs. Again, the process is closely controlled. Part of the company's 200,000 square feet of space is taken up by its non-ferrous division, where many types of commercial aluminums and bronzes are cast. Gas-fired furnaces melt the metals. The crucible of molten bronze, made of only the first-grade materials, comes from the furnace. After the metal is cleansed with purifiers that remove trapped gases and dross, it is checked for temperature and then poured into the molds. Another truckload of high-quality Universal castings is on its way to a satisfied customer. The story of Universal engineered castings goes on through the company's contributions to our town's welfare, its annual $3 million payroll, purchases, and goodwill in civic affairs. The words Oshkosh B'gosh mean quality clothes from a quality town. Raw materials come from all parts of the country. Skilled employees who have been unionized for over 60 years mark the cloth for cutting into the wide range of work and play garments the company is known for. The long bolts of cloth are laid out before cutting. Now in its 62nd year, the Oshkosh B'gosh Company employs about 350 men and women, and more than 85 of them have been with the company for more than 30 years. The third-floor sewing room is just one of the many rooms in the production plant that shows the latest in modern lighting and production techniques. The friendly, happy folks who work here reflect the progressive spirit of the company, which has helped to spread the name of Oshkosh throughout the world. Top-notch operators and specialized machines are used at each sewing operation, such as the button holder, which makes a long-lasting bound hole that will wear and wear. The company maintains a complete sound system which sends delightful music throughout the plant, helping to make working conditions even more pleasant and relaxing. Another department that adds to the safe working conditions in the plant is the well-equipped first aid department. A full-time registered nurse is in attendance to take care of stray splinters or other first aid needs. During lunchtime, coffee is provided throughout the plant and in the employees' clubhouse and dining room. Production operations at the Oshkosh B'gosh plant bring together highly engineered machines and skilled operators who maintain the highest and most consistent quality. The felling machines are typical of the extra care given to the company's work and play garments, that extra touch that will prevent raveling. Such care is typical of the company's devotion to a long-standing tradition of quality and fair prices. Oshkosh B'gosh clothing is shipped to all 48 states of the Union, plus Alaska and Hawaii. Most of it, however, is sent to independent clothing merchants right here in the great Midwest. The main office is a beehive of activity, keeping in touch with a sales organization composed of several thousand fine, loyal retail clothing and department stores, serviced by the company's representatives in every part of the country. A blanket of pins in the distribution map reflects the acceptance of the company's products. Yes, Oshkosh B'gosh is truly one of our fine neighbors, whose men and women also devote their spare time to church and civic affairs. Over 100 items of work and play clothing for young and old spread the fame of the company and Oshkosh. Situated along the Fox River in the heart of the valley that takes its name from the river, we're a town that knows and appreciates the value of the nearby lakes and streams. In fact, few cities anywhere in the country can rival our unique water sports. For just as the Fox flows through the town, Lake Winnebago is at our front door. The sound of the wind whipping into and around the sails, the friendly warmth of the shining sun, and the thrill of skimming over the water all go toward making sailing an unbeatable experience. Contributing to our enjoyment of water sports are the products of the Universal Motor Company, the world's largest manufacturer of 100% marine motors. A tour through their modern plant shows why this world-famous company's products have such a fine reputation. The sales office is always humming with activity. Each morning's mail brings letters from many parts of the world and orders for marine and electric plant motors. The complete printing and mailing department keeps in touch with satisfied customers. Each motor manufactured by Universal is the product of sound engineering and design principles, as applied to the particular requirements of a variety of boats or to a range of electrical needs. Universal is the only company to both develop and manufacture a V-drive unit that is built integral with the marine engine. Offering a free choice of gear ratios from direct drive to a 3-to-1 gear reduction, the Aquapac V-drive engines are built in 4 size ranges: 25, 65, 100, and 145 horsepower. The finest quality, heavy-duty, self-lubricating reversing gears are found on Universal engines. Positive neutral is a safety feature, available in either manual or hydraulically operated types. Equipped with a maze of technical equipment, the test line is the first proving ground for Universal engines. The machinery is capable of simulating actual operating stresses that will be found once the engine is installed in a boat or other carrier. Each engine is subjected to a battery of complete tests that range from 3 to 7 hours. The company also maintains a unique testing and experimental laboratory, the Aqua Lab, a few miles from the factory. Equipment of a different nature is also manufactured by Universal. Light and power plants for emergency electric service or for permanent installations. Water-cooled or air-cooled gasoline or diesel models are available. Each unit gets a coat of the famous high-quality universal green paint. With the world as its market, the Universal warehouse is filled with the wide variety of products that will be bound for almost every point in the world. During the last 2 wars, thousands of portable lighting plants were furnished by Universal for the United States Armed Forces, used wherever our men went. Shipping directions are stenciled clearly on all crates, such as the one bound for South America. The attractive displays of Universal light plants show off the outstanding design and convenient features of the units. Delivering steady, reliable electric service in emergency or permanent use, they are found in homes, hospitals, on the farm, wherever power is needed. Along with its own Universal marine engines, the company now manufactures the well-known Nordberg gasoline engine, having recently purchased this division from Nordberg of Milwaukee. The company will install its marine engines if requested. The quality marine engines and power and light plants made by the Universal Motor Company bring light and enjoyment to people everywhere. Boats of every description ply the waters around Oshkosh, from huge cabin cruisers that are floating homes to a variety of other small or large craft. Little wonder that many of the world's foremost manufacturing companies have found our town an ideal place to set up shop. For the waters provide fine testing grounds for both engines and boats, so that the words "Made in Oshkosh" represent not only quality, but tested quality when it comes to boats. Lake Winnebago is the scene of races, too, conducted by the various boating fraternities and clubs that are dedicated to the improvement and advancement of this wonderful sport. And the boat that started it all, the man-powered rowboat, is also ever present on Lake Winnebago. Fishermen and sportsmen take to the water for several reasons, besides sheer fun, for the lake is also a favorite among duck hunters who bag their limit in a short time during the season. One out of every 10 people who work in Oshkosh work at the town's largest business, the Wisconsin Axle Division of the Rockwell Spring and Axle Company. In the plants that cover 30 acres, the company makes axles and transmissions used in trucks, tractors, and a host of other equipment. The tracer lathe turns a transmission shaft. More than 600 machines of every description are used to manufacture the quality products. In the bevel gear cutting department, a Gleason gear cutter shapes the teeth of a bevel gear. This newest department in the plant marks a further step in plant integration, whereby the company produces a majority of its component parts. Bull or spur gears, some of the larger gears made by the company, are cut on a Gould Eberhardt gear cutter. They're primarily used in heavy-duty axle applications such as power shovels, cranes, and road equipment. The company maintains a complete gear laboratory which serves as a thorough inspection station. It is designed to fully test all gears manufactured in the plant. The gears are carefully checked by precision checking devices, for high-type gears are an integral part in the overall quality of more than 120 axle models and 37 models of transmissions and transfer cases made at the plant. Heat treating hardens gears, adding years to their life. The door to the large heat treat furnace opens automatically, ready to receive a load of unhardened gears. Gears and pinions are treated under controlled time and temperature conditions. These and other operations require huge amounts of gas and electricity, and the company uses nearly 10% of all the electric power and gas produced in the Oshkosh area. After heat treating, the red-hot spur gear is taken from the furnace and transported to a quenching press. The gear is put into this special unit so that it will be quenched in oil over a die, ensuring a uniform cooling process. As Oshkosh's largest employer, the company realizes its responsibilities and takes an active part in civic affairs such as fund drives, Boy Scouts, and recreation. In the customer inspection department, highly trained inspectors check the finished axles to make sure they correspond to blueprint specifications. Sound engineering, high-grade materials, and quality workmanship ensure the customer a quality product. Before being assembled into axles and transmissions, the finished components are stored in the stockroom area. From here, they will go to the assembly department. More than 58 million pounds of raw materials were processed in 1955 into 47 million pounds of finished products. The newest power-driven assembly conveys the axles along the line until complete and then to the paint booths and shipping departments. Serving the entire United States and parts of Canada, Wisconsin Axle is spreading the fame of Oshkosh far and wide. With 67 years of engineering and manufacturing experience, the United States Motors Company makes, markets, and services the world's most complete line of electric plants used in a variety of portable, emergency, and permanent installations. 4 of the main sections in the company's extensive catalog are the air-cooled, the gasoline and diesel, the microwave, and the auto-magic section. For greater power needs, the gasoline and diesel engines do the job. Our town's Mercy Hospital is one of the large institutions that rely on a U.S. installation as an emergency power source. Typical installation shows the large 250 kilowatt plant that provides steady, sure electric power when needed. These generators are available up to 600 kilowatts at 50 or 60 cycles at any desired voltage. High-speed standby units are used in telephone exchanges, hatcheries, and other applications, while low-speed units provide power for the oil industry, resorts, and others away from a commercial power source. The fabulous micro power unit has no equal. The micro power unit was conceived, engineered, designed, and manufactured for applications which cannot afford even a momentary power interruption, such as the New Jersey microwave relay station. The installation has a guaranteed, uninterrupted, no-break electrical power source and is used extensively throughout the communications industry. It is placed between the commercial source of power and the equipment using the power, so that should the normal supply waver or be cut off, the U.S. unit takes over without any lapse. With the micro power unit in place, this station will never be off the air. The Automagic garage door operator is the latest in a long line of automatic home devices. When it's time to leave the house for shopping or on another trip, there's no need to stand outside in all kinds of weather to tangle with the garage door. A touch of the Automagic push button and the garage door will open, ready for us to back our car out of the garage. It's all done with radio control. And let's hop into the car, back out, and drive away, because after we've backed out, a touch of the button in the car lets us close and lock the door and even turn out the light in the garage. It's not magic, it's Automagic by U.S. Motors. On our way back from that shopping trip, all we have to do is push the button on the dashboard, and as we coast into the driveway, the Automagic opens the door by the time we reach it and turns on the light. We're back home, warm and safe in our garage. The push-button convenience of the Automagic is another contribution by U.S. Motors to safer, more comfortable living. Just 8 miles from the point where the waters of the Little Wolf and Big Wolf rivers meet to empty into the fabulous Fox River, at the point where the Fox River flows into the equally famous Lake Winnebago, stands our town. A town filled with people who have created a unique way of life, a good life, full of work and play, of contentment and peace. Men and women everywhere have heard of us, and we make them welcome when they come, by highway, by train, or by air. Barely 75 miles from Milwaukee, we're the very heart of Winnebago land. Thousands of visitors from all parts of this country and the world have joined the many home folks who enjoy the beauties of art and nature in a tour through our Payne Art Center and Arboretum. The Art Center and Arboretum was founded by one of Oshkosh's prominent industrialists, Nathan Payne, a few years before his death in 1947. For many years, Mr. Payne had interested himself in beautifying that part of Oshkosh originally known as the village of Algoma. He had been instrumental in the formal planting of parks through the Payne Lumber Company, of which he was president. These beginnings became the basis for the development of the Art Center and Arboretum and were typical of his desire for cultural improvement of the community. The building which houses the art gallery is designed to provide a comfortable home that matches the period of rooms inside. Striving for the best in Old English country home architecture, the exterior goes through 3 centuries of English architecture. Rebuilding and additional wings have resulted in a dignified display of English styles through many centuries. There are 3 general areas that make up the Arboretum. Within the fenced area around the Art Center, there are informal plantings that are suitable for use around homes. This area covers more than 3 acres and contains evergreens, shrubs, and trees grouped with the plants to create pleasing effects. It is hoped that homeowners will be inspired by these displays to beautify their homes. The park area across Congress Street, nearly an acre in area, is planted with shrubs, most of which are native to the state of Wisconsin. The third area borders on Algoma Boulevard, High, and West Algoma Streets. The 8 1/3 acres in this part of the Arboretum are devoted to trees suitable for shade or for street planting. A collection of dwarf lilac developed for use around ranch-type homes can also be found in the third area. One of the breathtakingly beautiful varieties of roses is displayed amid the background of other types. For the convenience of visitors, the center publishes a complete guide to every group arrangement that can be seen in all areas, listing the components by their technical and common names. The Payne Art Center also conducts art classes which are open to the public. The Art Center thus does much to contribute to our greater appreciation of beauty in art by helping to teach us what to look for when we gaze at paintings. There are classes which use live models, such as the portrait being made. With the helpful guidance of skilled instructors such as Mrs. Franklin Moore, the students learn techniques, color shadings, and the many elements that go toward making a painting a thing of beauty. There are classes in still life also, as students and instructors work together to put on canvas the image and likeness of the variety of subjects available. It was Mr. Payne's hope that the examples of architecture, art, and natural planting would be an inspiration to the citizens of Oshkosh. His dream is coming true through the outstanding Payne Art Center and Arboretum. One of the world's most unique timepieces, the Apostles' Clock, housed in the Public Museum Sawyer Foundation, the former home of Edgar E. Sawyer, who donated his mansion to the city 35 years ago. The month and day can be read, and when it strikes the hour, let's watch what happens. One of the fine paintings in the Oshkosh Museum is that of the Dream Dance Drum, which, according to an old Indian legend, had mystical healing powers when it was called upon to help. The museum has an unbroken record of service since it opened in 1924. Besides its importance as a showcase of exhibits of local history, natural history, and art, the museum has contributed much to the educational advancement of hundreds of elementary, secondary, and college classes who come from 100 miles or more to take advantage of the lectures and visual training. As a museum of Indian and pioneer objects from the valley, with gifts collected and donated by travelers in the area, it is one of the best in existence today. Students from all over the country find its reference library an important source of authentic information. The museum's records show that an average of 75,000 visitors come each year to enjoy the guided tours, the art classes, and the other popular features of the museum. Natural wildlife of the area has been preserved for everlasting display. During the Depression years, the Federal Art Project and WPA contributed a host of services in an effort to keep the museum open. Artists have based their conception of what our state must have looked like over the years on information such as that derived from excavation projects conducted by the museum. In 1930, for example, a group discovered an ancient Indian village at Leslie's Point on Lake Winneconne. The deer case houses likenesses of the friendly does and bucks that used to abound in the forests around our town. Through its pioneer cabin room, murals, glass and china collections, and Indian relics and other items, the museum helps to keep the past alive. Nearly 50 years of fine performance by the Wisconsin National Life Insurance Company are summed up by these three men. W. Meade Stillman, president, and Robert Boardman, chairman of the board, showing the company's first policyholder, Mr. Nevitt, now a director of the company, the firm's newest policy. The story of Wisconsin National Life is the story of insurance in action. Since its beginning back in 1908, through the many national, financial, and military crises this country has undergone, to its present position as conscientious leader among the top third of the nation's life insurance companies. Its present building on Washington Boulevard, home of WNL since 1927, is marked by the distinctive frieze that circles the top. Insurance in action begins with this story of the new agent, who is brought from his hometown to the main office to meet some of the people he will be working with and to learn some of the home office procedures relating to his work. The experienced general agent is his guide on the thorough tour. The general agent explains the magnificent bronze grille that dominates the lobby. Executed by Carl Weiland from clay models, the prize-winning grille depicts the purpose and meanings of life. The vice president and director of agencies meets and interviews the new agent. This is a vital part of the company's program, where they get acquainted and discuss some of the aspects of the new man's career. The new agent is shown some of the modern equipment in the home office, used to assure speed and accuracy in handling the accounts of policyholders. These machines, however, cannot replace the human values and interests that can only come from a person-to-person relationship between the agent and the policyholder. Sound management policies are reflected also in the wise manner in which it invests funds, such as the mortgage loan on property, which a financial vice president is discussing with a client. When the company receives claim forms from a policyholder, they are quickly processed. For here again, prompt settlement is the keynote, another way of keeping faith with the people the company protects. Claim forms are checked with the policy held by the client, and the amount of the benefits is determined in relation to the provisions in the policy. Once the amount has been determined, a check is written for the money due the policy owner on the same day that his claim is received in the home office. As a result of this fundamental principle of prompt claim payment, the company has paid out over $18 million to policyholders and beneficiaries since it started. When a new agent begins, the company helps him to get started in every way. The associate director of agencies explains some of the sales materials that are made available to the agent and presents him with a new briefcase containing the material necessary for him to use on his visit with prospective policyholders. He's on his own now, almost, for he's on his way to meet the general agent, who will show him some of the fundamental rewards of his new enterprise. Back home, the new agent and the general agent make a stop at a filling station operated by one of the company's policy owners. This man had asked for a loan on his policy in order to get money temporarily so that he could take advantage of a good price in buying tires and accessories. The check he receives from Wisconsin National Life will help him improve his earnings from his business. Just one of the ways life insurance helps people. At the end of a busy day, the agent in the comfort of his home reviews what he has accomplished, keeping his records and calls up to date, checking on the services still to be required. With the training and facilities of the entire company at his disposal, he too looks for an even better tomorrow. For the agent knows he will be making those tomorrows brighter for all his clients in the proud tradition of the Wisconsin National Life Insurance Company, a neighbor our town can be proud to have in its midst. The inspiring story of a long and determined battle against permanent disability is the story behind the creation and successful operation of one of our town's most unique industrial neighbors, Ted Hoyer and Company. The company manufactures units it has designed to make the lives of disabled persons richer, fuller, and happier. One of its proud products is the hydraulic patient lifter, which allows a person with a disability to carry on useful, interesting work without being a burden to fellow employees. This concern for others was the root of Ted Hoyer's desire to help. For when he was only 16, he was injured in an auto accident that left him paralyzed for nearly 20 years. But those years before his death in 1954 were devoted to thinking of ways to become a useful citizen. And he and his associate Victor Hildeman thought and planned until their first invention, an electrical patient lift, was perfected in 1949. The newer hydraulic models make the transfer from desk to wheelchair easy for all concerned. The quality lifts begin with tubing being cut to exact size. Production began on a small scale in Ted's garage. As people everywhere began to learn of his products, the business grew until now there are 15 employees at the modern, busy plant. In the welding department, the tubing is joined for sturdy, long-lasting service. The sanding and polishing department makes sure all surfaces will be smooth. An interesting sidelight, 3 of the company's employees are physically handicapped and have never lost a day of work due to their handicaps. The next step, all grinding marks are removed to assure a satin smooth finish. The edges of the tubes are trimmed and broken so that there will be no rough edges in the final product. The company also manufactures lifters for bathtubs and therapy pools, harnesses for use with the lifters, and lifters for transfer into cars. One of the features of the lifters is the adjustable base, which allows it to fit through doors as narrow as 24 inches, or to fit around chairs as wide as 34 inches. Merely by moving a lever on the lifter, the base is adjusted easily to the need. The lifters are equipped with 5-inch rubber casters for safe, easy movement indoors. The assembled legs are hung on racks and are ready for the paint department. All of the Hoyer lifters are styled in neutral gray with brushed satin trim to harmonize with any surrounding and are rated at 250 pounds with special units of 400-pound capacity. Hoyer devices are sold throughout the United States, Canada, and Mexico, bringing help and hope to physically handicapped people. Their wide acceptance is a memorial to Ted Hoyer, who had the courage to turn his own disability into an opportunity to help others. In the months of October and November, the rippling waters of our Lake Winnebago and the bright glowing moon can mean just one thing to those of us who take advantage of the excellent duck hunting in the area. Lake Winnebago is one of the major flyways for waterfowl, and during the duck and goose season, there's a superabundance of the game on the lake shores. Doesn't take long to bag the limit, and the early birds often come back at the same time that others are on their way out to enjoy the hunting. Whether it's from a private island or a favorite spot, the sport attracts many of our townspeople who work on decoys, clean their guns, and rig the duck blinds in anticipation of the season's opening. This is just one of the many sports that our town offers, for it's true that we are unique in the number of outdoor activities that surround us. And the people of Oshkosh are the kind who have learned to take advantage of all that nature offers, blending these moments into the busy activity that keeps us working hard to build a good life, yet a way of life that allows time to lead well-rounded, happy lives all the year round. And when the dawn comes up on tomorrow, and each day after that, the people of our town will wake up to opportunity and the chance to live life at its best in a place where people are truly neighbors. Our town, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, USA. We're a town filled with hard-working people who realize the benefits that nature has blessed us with. And during many months of the year, we spend countless hours under the friendly sun, enjoying the fine facilities our city maintains for our relaxation, such as the Lakeshore Municipal Golf Course. Those of us who play golf know the challenge every outing presents. And as we roll our carts to the first tee, we're determined to shave a few strokes off our scores. The beautifully landscaped course is a tricky one that requires all the concentration and ability we can muster. We can play either 9 or 18 holes, and the fees are reasonable. Armed with scorecards and play tickets, we're ready to begin. The municipal golf course is on land bought by the city in 1919, originally for park purposes. It had been idle for 3 years before that, and by 1921, it had grown into a hay field. However, through donations, the work of cutting the hay and getting the grounds in shape was started in June of that year, and the course was opened on the 4th of July. Whenever heavy-duty trucks are needed for the tough, grueling work of snow removal and on and off highway hauling, Oshkosh 4- and 6-wheel drive trucks are known and respected for ruggedness of construction and dependability on the job. Here in this modern manufacturing plant in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, highly skilled technicians manufacture America's #1 heavy-duty truck, the world-famous Oshkosh truck. Oshkosh trucks have come a long way since the first Oshkosh 4-wheel drive truck was manufactured during World War I. Record keeping is important to the task of building heavy-duty trucks. With the efficient Cardex system, the company's purchasing department has available instantly any information needed about component parts for trucks on the production lines or on order with suppliers. In the machine shop, the boring bar takes on the precision job of boring the axle housing. Oshkosh Motor Truck has recommended and used one-piece axle housings in order to provide maximum rigidity and to allow the axle carriers to be removed as a unit. On the radial drill press, the rear axle housing is being drilled. Unlike conventional trucks with rear drive alone, Oshkosh's 4- and 6-wheel drive trucks provide power and traction to every wheel on the ground, making heavy-duty hauling easier and safer. The extremely rugged axles in the trucks used off the highways have been designed by Oshkosh into dependable, long-lasting units, resulting from over 40 years of experience in building all-wheel drive trucks. One of the many reasons why Oshkosh 4- and 6-wheel drive trucks are so rugged and dependable is the care given every phase of manufacture by the inspection department. Skilled technicians check and double-check every part where precision tolerances are required, and intricate testing equipment assures that long life is built into every Oshkosh truck. Small pieces such as cams get a thorough going over too. These rigid inspections at several points along the manufacturing and assembly lines ensure quality of both material and construction. The heat treating furnaces, or carburizing cases, are used to treat certain parts, adding strength and durability along with flexibility that will absorb strong shocks in the field. After a time in the furnaces, the pieces are removed and quickly plunged into the oil bath in a quenching process. Careful control and proper timing are essential in this phase of the operations. The frames for Oshkosh trucks are made of heat-treated alloy steel. The cross members and machine spring brackets are cold riveted to the sidebars in assembly of all Oshkosh truck frames. The cold rivets are forced into the holes under tremendous hydraulic pressure, thus filling the hole completely. This means they will not shrink away from the side of the hole, as a hot rivet does when it cools, assuring a much stronger frame. Cabs for Oshkosh trucks are of all steel welded construction. After the cab has been wired, it is fitted carefully to the chassis. There's more for the customers to see. Many more interesting departments at Oshkosh Motor Truck that reflect the progressive spirit of leadership that has made Oshkosh trucks popular in all parts of the world. So it's on with the tour, with the story of quality speaking for itself. Modern efficient tools help the men handle the heavy loads as the front axle meets the chassis. Oshkosh springs are engineered to help absorb loading shock and to keep the shock of rough roads from being transmitted to the frame. Double-wrapped eyes help to guard against main leaf breakage. Fenders and sheet metal are attached to the chassis. Proof of the company's concern for the best use of their trucks is shown by the practical design with no unnecessary skirting, resulting in faster mounting of units such as a snowplow and reduction of general maintenance costs. Before the trucks are ready to get their prime and finish coats of paint, they are sanded thoroughly in the sanding department. Modern painting methods provide lasting protection from the elements and give Oshkosh trucks an outstanding appearance. Because the trucks are used in a variety of climates and temperatures, the paint must be able to withstand extreme climatic conditions. Every Oshkosh truck gets a thorough going over before it's allowed to leave the plant. Rigid and detailed checks are made on all parts. Motors are checked by actual operation. A maze of intricate machinery in the hands of trained inspectors. Test proves the quality that has been built in. This combination of men and machinery goes over the truck with what amounts to a fine-tooth comb, in keeping with the company's reputation that will continue to be the goal of each day's output. Out of the efficiently organized plant comes another Oshkosh all-wheel drive truck, ready to be pressed into a long lifetime of service. With a snowplow attached, another is ready to tackle the bruising battle with the elements, carving a path for cars and other vehicles. Oshkosh trucks are put to work doing many things in many places. On airports, for example, the snowplow picks up the slippery snow and casts it far out off the runway, making landings and takeoffs safer for planes. The large 54,000-pound Oshkosh pushes the South Dakota snow away with ease. Special development goes on continually, devising new models, new uses, for this is pioneering leadership with a purpose, better service to users. On an Oklahoma construction job, Oshkosh delivers the concrete in all kinds of weather, under all conditions. At the Mesabi Iron Range, Oshkosh trucks have proven their ability to take the roughest treatment. As tractors for trailers, they are called upon to haul tons of material on both smooth and broken surfaces. They take each condition in stride, proving the sound engineering and design principles that the company has maintained for over 40 years. They're also pressed into service as end dump trucks carrying payloads in excess of 30 tons. Longer tire wear, less maintenance, and easy maneuverability are the result of proper weight distribution. The giant St. Lawrence Seaway project is another on-the-job proving ground for these durable trucks. End dumps move the mountains of earth with less strain on both truck and driver. Records over the years show that the Oshkosh trucks stand up to this punishing treatment with greater availability for productive work than any other make of similar units. In Hawaii, Oshkosh tractors equipped with special cane-hauling trailers keep the sugar cane moving from the plantation fields. Traveling over narrow, twisting roads, the units go in to collect another heavy load. The tractors have ample power to start 35-ton loads moving and keep them going. With maximum traction in soft fields and speeds up to 36 miles an hour on the road, the units ensure a continuous hauling cycle at profitable, consistent speeds. Flying high over the Oshkosh motor truck plant is the American flag, symbolizing the American system of free enterprise where quality workmanship produced quality products known and respected the world over. Wherever man is changing the face of the earth, wherever winter snows clog highways, wherever equipment is needed for the toughest hauling jobs, America looks to Oshkosh for leadership. Oshkosh, a name on a map, but to us, it's home. We're a mighty city and a mighty nation, bound to our neighbors by wide ribbons of concrete, by glistening steel rails that stretch as far as the eye can see in all directions, and by sparkling plains that put the world right next door. This is our home. These are the results of our work. Buildings and streets made of stone and wood and cement and iron, and the labor of our hands. But a city is more than a cold exterior. It has a heart that throbs with the warmth and vitality of its people. Our businessmen and storekeepers cater to our every need for a good life. We appreciate and do all we can to enjoy the comforts of a home life, building new homes at a rapid pace to keep up with our growing population. New arrivals who have heard of us and wish to join us. To these newcomers, we extend a warm welcome. The beauties of art and nature abound at the Payne Art Center. And the literature of the world, the legacy of the past, is ours to read at our fine public library. The bronze lions that flank the entrance make an imposing entrance to the building, which opened in 1900 with barely 6,000 books. Today, the library has more than 100,000 books, plus many periodicals, newspapers, and reference services. The atmosphere of the main reading room encourages us in our search for informative or entertaining reading. Up-to-date facilities such as the microfilm reader put yesterday's history at our fingertips, such as the 1875 copy of the Daily Northwestern that is being scanned. The staff is noted for its accommodating and pleasant manner, and no effort is spared to help us. There's something for everyone at the library. Checking out books of our choice is made easy at the efficient checkout booth. With its several branches, the Oshkosh Public Library occupies an important position in our pursuit of information and culture through books. The Community Players Group reflects our interest in being in and attending good theater. Oshkosh started early in the field of vocational and adult education, and today we have one of the 3 oldest vocational school organizations in the state. Nearly 50 years ago, the state vocational law was passed, and barely a year went by before we were organized and ready for the first term. Apprenticeship courses are now conducted in all trades, with shop training offered in machine shop, electricity, welding, auto mechanics, cabinet making, printing, and sheet metal for the boys. The vocational school program has continued without interruption since its start in 1912 and has aided in war emergencies and government work projects. At the Institute of Technology, one of the most popular courses offered is electronics, a course that prepares boys for good jobs in a field that is rapidly expanding. The secrets of science are unfolded on the face of the oscilloscope as the training becomes more advanced. Learning the many intricate wiring and circuit details is a real challenge to the boys, who will be ready to supply our nation's increasing need for well-trained, skilled technicians and engineers. The many electronic wonders that are being produced today will always require men to create, design, and maintain them. A bright future ahead for good workers. Courses in the various areas of business education and homemaking are offered for the girls besides the regular related work. The furrier course is an excellent example of the kind of work that is taught to supply the students with a trade if needed. This training will also come in handy when they become homemakers in the true sense. Throughout the school, courses are given with an idea to the industries that can be found in our town, providing the youngsters with a trade for which there is a need, and a trade that might lead to employment here in Oshkosh. Since Oshkosh products are known for high standards of quality, the fundamental training must be of an equally high caliber, and it is. Teaching teachers to be is important work, and the many boys and girls who wish to carve careers for themselves in this satisfying field can find excellent training in Oshkosh. Part of that training is in classroom techniques such as the second grade class, where the potential teachers and a faculty member observe the class in operation from the back of the room. Our town's schools and teachers are the training grounds for tomorrow, and we do everything possible to make them the best we can. Police Chief Goltz has a training program for recruits. The excellent fire department protects us from hazards by constant training. With all the attention we give to our town's doings, we are still vitally interested in what happens to our country and the world. Interest in local and national elections is high, for we appreciate and use our right to vote. Crowds eagerly watch the results of last year's presidential elections as they come in. This interest in the town, the country, and the world is symbolic of the alertness our folks possess, and it shows itself in the good relations we have with all people everywhere. We are interested in all people and lend our support to organizations such as the Salvation Army, which carries on a continuous program of community services that benefit our town. By buses and cars that travel the scenic highways, by trains that speed people and products to distant destinations, by mighty airplanes that span the world in a matter of hours, by every means possible, the fame of Oshkosh is spreading throughout the world. It's an exciting story, a story that has a bright future, and we who are writing the chapters of that story are proud to be a part of it. The unique blend of business and industry, homes, churches, and schools, the boundless beauties and benefits of nature's blessings, and wide-awake, hard-working neighbors who have the vision of a brighter, better tomorrow and the courage and determination to achieve it. These are the things that make us what we are. For this is our town, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, USA.